Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about some moments that have changed the WWE history forever. You know, some moments in WWE history, they don't really make headlines. They just change the game. So once again, welcome to Moments That Change the WWE Forever. Today, we are diving into key events that transformed the WWE into the global phenomenon that it is today. So make sure you stick around as we take a walk down memory lane. WWE has had a profound impact on both pop culture and professional wrestling. It has helped transform professional wrestling from a regional attraction into a global powerhouse. Everybody in the world loves pro wrestling, with iconic figures like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and John Cena becoming mainstream stars. WWE's blend of athleticism, storytelling, and spectacle introduced millions of the world to sports entertainment. Well, now we can call it pro wrestling, right? WWE's blend of athleticism and the way they just put everything together, and just like they really changed the game. There's a WWE style of pro wrestling. Through crossover appearances in movies, music, TV, WWE's influence, it extends far beyond the ring, shaping how wrestling is presented and consumed across various media platforms worldwide. Let's take a look at one of the first moments that changed WWE forever. Look, man, I could not put this one first. It's in no particular order, but definitely March 31st, 1985, the first WrestleMania. It was Vince McMahon's vision to see WrestleMania as pretty much more than just a wrestling show. Before Vince McMahon got his hands on wrestling, it was just like a show. It was just like, it was like boxing, but instead of boxing, they wrestled. However, when you go to a WWE show today and you look back at the first WrestleMania, going to a WWE event is like going to a concert. It's like going to a musical. It's like going to a play. It's like going to a boxing match, a wrestling match. It's so many things boiled up in one, and all became because of that WrestleMania. It was an entertaining extravaganza that blended pop culture and wrestling to appeal to the mainstream audience. And that's something that the WWE still does today. Whenever you watch wrestling, they always take a time to show you, hey, here's this celebrity who's sitting in the front row. Because think of it like this. If your favorite actor is, let's say, Chris Rock. I don't know, Chris Rock's the first one that came to my mind. If you like Chris Rock, and Chris Rock is your favorite actor, and you see Chris Rock at the WWE, you go, wait a minute, that's got to be cool, because I think he's cool, so let me go ahead and check it out. This, though, was not, WrestleMania 1 was not pro wrestling's first, pro wrestling mega show. Other pro wrestling companies, including the WWE, had mega shows before. But this one was the first one to touch pop culture. They had stars like Muhammad Ali, Cyndi Lauper, girls who just want to have fun. She helped marry WWE with MTV at the time. You had Mr. T. He was so famous because of the A-Team. I mentioned Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter in the world at the time. WWE reached wrestling fans and grabbed national attention because you grabbed three of the biggest names in media. Look, you know what? The news outlets couldn't ignore what was happening. This WrestleMania 1, though, definitely set the tone for future mega events, including things like WrestleMania. Because when you watch WrestleMania now, oh my God, the fanfare, the glitz, the glamour, like everybody loves, WrestleMania. Cyndi Lauper, though, I just want to say this, though. Cyndi Lauper was very integral in the first WrestleMania, the MTV, Rockin' Wrestling, and she belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame. That's where she belongs. She needs to get there one day. The WrestleMania 1 took place in Madison Square Garden, and it was the mecca of entertainment. It solidifies WrestleMania's credibility. The venue's iconic status even added prestige and helped WWE go from regional to national. So, like, for example, everybody wants to perform in Madison Square Garden, whether you're a wrestler, whether you're a boxer, whether you're an ice skater, basketball player, you're a musician. Everybody wants to go to Madison Square Garden. Did you know the first televised basketball game in 1940 took place in Madison Square Garden? Did you know the first indoor ice rink that they used for a hockey team was in Madison Square Garden? I didn't know that, but now we both know together. Madison Square Garden has hosted WrestleMania 10. It's hosted WrestleMania 20. And the very first ever UFC card in New York State was held at Madison Square Garden. Looking at WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania was a financial gamble for Vince McMahon and the WWE, but its success laid the foundation for super shows and proved that wrestling could thrive as mainstream entertainment. When you're looking at any form of entertainment today, believe me, you could always tie it back to wrestling. When you look at the glitz and the glamour of the Super Bowl, you can always tie it back to wrestling. Yeah, the Super Bowl always had people, performing and stuff like that, but nothing's like the WWE. Nothing's like WrestleMania. WrestleMania 1 became the blueprint for future events, turning WrestleMania into an annual tradition where we just finished WrestleMania 40 and it's launched the WWE into global success. If it's your first time watching and you like what I'm doing, my name is Tristan Law and I do live interviews and live episodes every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button as well. The second moment that I'm going to talk about that changed the WWE forever was Hulk Hogan winning the WWE Championship on January 23rd, 1984. I wasn't even born yet. But on January 23rd, 1984, Hulk Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden to win the WWE Championship, marking a pivotal change in WWE's future. Hogan winning the WWE Championship in 84 made him the face of the WWE. He was the one that they literally put the company on his back to go ahead and get success, which then led them into that first WrestleMania. Hogan winning the championship from the Iron Sheik, it launched the Hulkamania era with his larger-than-life personality, brother, his heroic image, and catchphrases like, say your prayers and eat your vitamins, becoming a rally cry for fans. The fans loved it. They ate it up. Hulk Hogan became an uber white meat babyface and a role model for kids worldwide. When you're watching pro wrestling and you're a parent and you see Hulk Hogan saying, hey kids, you should eat your vitamins and say your prayers. How could any parent tell you that you can't watch wrestling? He's telling you to not only to eat your vitamins to be healthy, but you should pray. You should pray as well too. So I think Hulk Hogan was definitely the first person the best person to put the WWE on his back. Hulk Hogan quickly became a pop culture icon. His appeal reached beyond pro wrestling. He went to movies, television, he had merchandise. He now has two stores in Florida. I've been to one of them, it's cool. And he attracts a mainstream audience that has never watched wrestling before. One of the things when I always talk about wrestling, people say, oh yeah, you wrestled? I'm like, yeah, I wrestled. I do the Hulk Hogan style wrestling. People understand what I mean when I say that. Hulk Hogan was the first WWE superstar to become a big-time television icon and movie icon, which opened the door for people like John Cena and Batista and so many other people to have come since then. So without Hulk Hogan being the face of the WWE, I guess we kind of owe him something. Hulkamania also fueled the expansion of WWE to the whole US and then worldwide. Hogan's star power helped Vince McMahon grow from a regional promotion into a national brand, with Hogan at the forefront of their rise. And again, like I said, without Hogan, they couldn't have did it. Hogan was on Rocky III, which was before WrestleMania and before him winning the championship. So with Hogan being on the WWE as the face. They now had a face. They go, hey, that's that movie star guy. He's a wrestler. But Hogan's victory wasn't just a title change. Like I said, it transforms WWE image, leading the company into dominance in the 1980s, cementing Hulk Hogan as one of the most recognizable faces in pro wrestling history. Let's take a look at the next moment that I felt changed the WWE forever. January 11th, 1993, Monday Night Raw premieres. WWE debuted its live weekly show introducing a revolutionary concept for pro wrestling television. Unlike pre-taped shows, like wrestling was always pre-taped. And one of the things that makes pro wrestling special, that even though it's always pre-taped or was always pre-taped, you always assume that it was happening right now. It was happening right now while you were watching it. And you still have that mentality when you watch pro wrestling now. Unlike pre-taped shows, Raw aired live, bringing a sense of unpredictability and excitement. Fan could watch the events unfold in real time. That first Raw took place in the Manhattan Center, and I actually took a walk and ended up walking past the Manhattan Center. I was like, oh crap, Monday Night Raw has been here, ECW has been here, and so many other things have happened here. Raw was live every other week. What they would do is they would have one show live, and then they would tape the following week to show the following week, the next week as it was taped, and then next week, the third week, they would have a live Raw and then tape the fourth week. That's what they used to do. However, WCW provoked Monday Night WWE to make Monday Night Raw live every single week, because what Eric Bischoff used to do was say, hey, you don't got to watch WWE Raw. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. Kind of grimy. Raw set the standard for weekly storytelling. It offered continuous plot lines and character development. Before the WWE put Raw on the television, yeah, they had other shows, but nothing was like Raw. What would happen is that you would watch the television show, and you would watch a television show, and all they were trying to do mainly was just sell you to come watch the events live in person or sell you to their big events. But now what happens is that WWE had this whole entire show where they can get you emotionally invested in the character, which in turn sold you on the events, whether it was big or small, and sold you on the TV, which they would use to sell ads. The format, the way that WWE was telling stories on Monday Night Raw, it kept fans hooked. It was like crack. Week after week, we were hooked, and it continued the long-term investment. It was like a soap opera. It was often called a soap opera for men back in the 1990s. I remember that as a kid watching on Monday Night Raw. People used to be like, why do you watch that? I'm like, it's a soap opera for men. But I was a boy at the time. What the hell did I know? Raw became the flagship WWE show, paving the way for modern wrestling programming. If it wasn't for WWE Raw doing what they did, there'd be no WCW Nitro. There'd be no TNA Impact. There would be no AEW Dynamite. So we all have to take a moment to recognize the contributions that Monday Night Raw made. The raw, gritty style of the show created a connection between fans and produced a product that was can't miss. I remember watching Monday Night Raw as a kid. I was like, yo, I have to go home and watch this. I can't miss Monday Night Raw. I have to go watch Monday Night Raw. I had to. And, you know, it was no matter what was happening. There was no DVR at the time. No matter what was happening, I had to make sure that my cheeks was inside the house so I can watch Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw has been on the show on TV for decades, over 30 years. Monday Night Raw has been a part of the WWE programming lineup, and it's become a Monday night tradition. I still watch Monday Night Raw. I watched it last night. The next moment that we're going to talk about that helped shape the WWE forever is November 9th, 1997. It was the Montreal Screwjob. On November 9th, 1987, at the Survivor Series, Bret Hart was defending his then WWE Championship against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Bret was set to leave the WWE for WCW, but didn't want to drop the title to Shawn Michaels in Bret Hart's home country of Canada. Okay, the Screwjob behind Bret's back Vince and Shawn and everybody, they orchestrated an alternate finish. I've talked about this in other videos before. Maybe one day I'll do a whole entire video on the Montreal Screwjob. But during the match, Bret Hart was put in the sharpshooter, his move, by Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart never tapped out. And Vince McMahon ordered the referee to ring the bell, declaring Shawn Michaels the winner despite Bret not submitting. It was probably one of the most shocking moments in history. And this moment, if you ask me, it completely changed the perception of Vince McMahon and birthed the Mr. McMahon character. It was not the first time we saw the Mr. McMahon character. We did see him someplace else, and that's another episode. But partly McMahon was provoked by everybody, and he had to become Mr. McMahon. You know, he was previously seen as somebody that was neutral. He was a neutral authority figure. He was just the announcer, the play-by-play guy. However, McMahon leaned into the anger from the fans and created the role of the villain, which led to the Mr. McMahon character. This power-hungry persona became one of WWE's most important characters moving forward, leading the WWE through the Attitude Era. The Montreal Screwjob, something to say, marked the beginning of WWE's move into the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was defined by more adult themes, edgier content, and rebellious attitude that pushed boundaries and reflected the cultural shift of the 90s, of the late 90s. Vince's rivalry with Stone Cold Steve Austin and the edgier storylines, and those all grew because of the fallout from the Montreal Screwjob. So I guess, for a lack of a better term, if you can't really thank Bret Hart for not wanting to do business, we probably wouldn't be looking at wrestling the way that we're looking at it today. The Montreal Screwjob remains one of the most talked about and controversial moments in pro wrestling history. It blurred the lines between what was shoot and what was a work, right? What was scripted and what was, kayfabe, not actually happening. It captivated fans, and it changed the dynamics of pro wrestling. It also had a profound effect on Bret Hart's career and cemented Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon as central figures in pro wrestling lore. Bret Hart eventually went on to WCW, and he got super kicked by Goldberg, and it ended his career. He had a stroke and everything else like that. So it didn't really end so great. Eventually, he did come back to the WWE, but it was never really the same. It was like a one-off or two-off. If you like what I'm doing, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The subscribe button means to me that you are liking what I'm doing, so I take it as a compliment, and I appreciate the compliment in advance. And don't forget to hit that like button. The next moment that we're going to look at is March 31st, 1996. Shawn Michaels wins his first WWE Championship. Shawn Michaels faced Bret Hart in a 60-minute Iron Man match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 12. And let me tell you, if you've not watched WrestleMania 12, go watch it. I was watching it yesterday, and it was great to watch. The opening match was great. The backlot brawl between Roddy Piper and Goldust, which is Cody Rhodes' older brother, was amazing. It was fun. You even got to see OJ Simpson run from the police in the Bronco. I mean, no, that wasn't OJ Simpson. That was Roddy Piper looking for Goldust. We knew. But this match had a stipulation. It was an Iron Man match, a 60-minute Iron Man match. And a 60-minute Iron Man match had a stipulation that pretty much said that whoever scored the most pinfalls within the hour, they would win. That match showcased a new era of in-ring storytelling. Before that, the matches weren't really long. You'd get like a 10-minute match and different things like that. But this match went 60 minutes, and it was something that was unseen at the time, unheard of at the time on WWE television. Both men, Bret and Shawn, known for their technical skills, they displayed incredible stamina, agility, and psychology, wrestling psychology. They wrestled to a draw, 0-0 tie at the 60-minute mark, and had to go into sudden death. Let me tell you something. In order to do a pro wrestling match, there's two kinds of shape. There's in shape and there's ring shape. So you could run marathons, and because you run marathons, you can't wrestle, right? You don't have the win for it. To do a 5-minute match, just to do a couple moves, you could be out of breath. And for them to go 60 minutes showed the athletic prowess that both men had at the time. As that match went into sudden death overtime, Shawn Michaels hit his sweet chin music, finally securing his first WWE Championship win. And his victory, it was paired with the emotional imagery of him achieving his boyhood dream. And it resonated with fans. This match signified a shift from larger-than-life characters like Hogan, like Psycho Sid, like Diesel, to more athletic and technically skilled wrestlers like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Their styles influenced future generations of WWE performers and elevated in-ring performance as a key storytelling tool in the WWE. Let's take a look at another moment that changed the WWE forever. I can't forget this one. The first episode of SmackDown, April 29th, 1999. WWE introduced SmackDown doing a fierce competition in the world of pro wrestling. Oh man, let me tell you that WCW was on the throat of the WWE, and at times, man, Vince McMahon said he didn't know if he was going to be able to survive. However, WWE was doing good, and as a second weekly show, SmackDown was designed to complement Monday Night Raw and solidifies WWE's dominance on television. SmackDown provided more than weekly content. It provided more than content for the WWE, allowing the WWE to feature additional talent and continue ongoing storylines. You now had 4 hours of television per week, 2 for Raw and 2 for SmackDown. So now what you could do is you could tell stories a little bit quicker, or you could stretch them out. And for those people that didn't have cable at the time, yes, it was 1999. Not everybody had cable. You can still watch WWE programming on broadcast television, and that's what SmackDown was. The blue brand, SmackDown, gave wrestlers who might not have had consistent Raw airtime and opportunity to shine, making WWE's product feel richer and more dynamic. You got a new show with new people. You got to see new faces. They had to fill out both shows. At that time, both crews, everybody wrestled on both shows. Now it's a little bit more separate and everybody has a little bit more break. SmackDown and aired on UPN, and it marked WWE's expansion into broadcast television, which opened the door to millions of additional viewers. This strategic move, it broadened WWE's audience beyond cable viewership on Raw, helping to establish WWE's reach into mainstream media. With WCW its main rival in the late 90s, WWE creation of SmackDown was a part of the larger strategy to gain a competitive edge over WCW. By airing 2 weekly shows, the WWE not only provided more content for their loyal fans like myself, but it also increased its visibility in a saturated TV market. Because the WWE was showing Raw and there was no DVR, you could put in a VHS and tape it, you had to be home. But on Thursday nights when SmackDown came on at 8 p.m. on UPN on the Eastern Coast in the United States, I had to be home as well too. So I think around the 1990s, my mom was glad for wrestling because she knew I would be home at 9 o'clock on Monday nights and I wouldn't be going anywhere. And I'd be home at Thursdays at 8 p.m. and she knew I wouldn't be going anywhere because I'd be watching pro wrestling. Over time, however, SmackDown grew from being Raw's companion show to standing on its own, eventually leading to the brand split in the early 2000s. This brand separation made SmackDown as pretty much essential as Raw. It was just as important as Raw, further enforcing WWE's stranglehold on weekly wrestling content. The introduction of SmackDown also contributed to WWE's rise in pop culture, and over the years, the show has produced iconic moments and matches that rival Raw's historic episodes. It symbolized WWE's push towards a more diverse and engaging TV product, growing its influence in the wrestling world. Oh, definitely can't forget this one. This next moment that changed the WWE forever was March 26, 2001. WCW is purchased by the WWE. WWE bought its longtime rival WCW, marking the end of the Monday Night Wars. This purchase allowed the WWE to absorb WCW's roster, the library, and intellectual property, effectively ending the competition that had dominated wrestling for years. The thing that was worth the most to Vince McMahon purchasing WCW was the library, all the matches, all the events, all of that stuff, and then I think the intellectual property, the words like Nitro and different stuff like that. The reason why the library was so valuable to Vince McMahon, because he knew back then that he wanted to start the WWE network, or some kind of network to where we'd be able to stream wrestling all the time. The Monday Night Wars, a period of intense competition between Raw and WCW's Nitro, ended with WWE's purchase. Once the dominant force, WCW, they had been losing ground due to poor creative decisions and declining ratings. One thing that I'm thinking about doing in the future is telling you, in my opinion, who really caused the demise of WCW. I have a theory and I'm working on that. With WCW gone, though, WCW being gone, WWE became the undisputed leader in professional wrestling. The competition was done. There was no real place for everybody to work. This acquisition, though, did allow WWE to consolidate talent and resources between WWE and WCW, monopolizing over mainstream wrestling. The acquisition of WCW had also set the stage for the Invasion storyline, where former WCW stars entered WWE programming, adding further intrigue to the post-purchase era. Looking at the long-term impact of WWE purchasing WCW, it reshaped the wrestling industry. Without major competition, WWE's position at the top was cemented, and nobody could really touch the WWE. And WWE had years to grow a gap. Like, they're ahead, and it's hard to catch them. I think that AEW is doing a great job being the number 2 company in the world. But can they be number 1? Maybe one day. But right now, they're definitely the number 2 company. This acquisition created long-lasting effects, including roster integration, and continued the legacy of WWE's influence on the wrestling culture. There's been numerous documentaries, DVDs, and books on the demise of WCW and the purchase of WCW by the WWE. And if you like what you see here, don't forget to hit that like button. I love likes. Likes make me feel that you like what I'm doing. So if you like me, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscriptions mean so much to me. We're going to take a look at another moment that shaped the WWE forever. This one's a big one. April 6th, 2014, the end of the Undertaker streak. In one of the most shocking moments in WWE history, Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker, ending The Undertaker's historic and legendary 21-0 undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Look, honestly, nobody expected Brock Lesnar to win this match, making this moment one of the most unpredictable and still talked about moments in wrestling. The crowd's reaction was of complete shock and disbelief, with stunned silence and visible tears in the audience. The streak was seen as untouchable, so it left a massive emotional impact. Looking at the legacy of The Undertaker's streak being broken at WrestleMania, it cemented Brock Lesnar's status as an unstoppable force, and it transformed The Undertaker's legacy into one that now included vulnerability. The Undertaker wasn't vulnerable. He's known as the dead man. You couldn't stop the dead man, because he mess around, boom, you make a lightning bolt come right through your ass. That's what the Undertaker was. The only person, though, to ever beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania was Brock Lesnar, until Roman Reigns. Looking at another moment that helped change and shape the WWE forever, definitely can't miss this one. This one, I personally love this one as well too. February 23rd, 2014, the launch of the WWE Network. WWE made a bold move by launching its own streaming service, the WWE Network, just right before WrestleMania 30. Didn't we just talk about WrestleMania 30? We sure did. This was a game changer in the industry, in the pro wrestling industry, as WWE became one of the first major pro wrestling companies and even major sports brand to offer its exclusive platform with its own content. WWE fans now had access to the entire WWE library as well as live stream pay-per-views for a subscription fee of only $9.99. This direct-to-consumer model allowed the WWE to cut out traditional pay-per-view distributors and offer more value for the audience. So now they didn't have to go through an aggregate. They didn't have to go through, whoever's hosting pay-per-view in order for their show to be online. They now controlled it. All they did was press the button and it showed up on their app. Before the WWE Network, fans, we had to rely on cable subscriptions for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and then we had to pay a hefty price to watch each pay-per-view. If you didn't want to pay the hefty price for the pay-per-view, what you did was you had a pay-per-view party, and you had everybody pay some money, and you would have pizza and different stuff like that. I did that. Or what you would do is you go to like a Hooters or some kind of sports bar. They called it a WWE Blast area or Blast Zone. So you go to the WWE website, you find a Blast Zone that was shown, and you just go watch the WWE pay-per-view. However, with the launch of the WWE Network, we can now stream content on demand, anytime and anywhere. This change fundamentally shifts how we as fans engage with the WWE. Instead of having to wait for special replays or DVDs, we had instant access to past events, documentaries, and original content. One of the things I like about the WWE Network as compared to Peacock is that the WWE Network was so much more easy to navigate. You could type in John Cena WrestleMania 30, and you can go to John Cena at WrestleMania 30 and watch that specific moment in WrestleMania. And if you still want to watch after that, you can. However, on Peacock, when you type that in, if you get WrestleMania 30 with John Cena, you can get WrestleMania 30 with John, but you have to watch the whole event and then fast forward to look for it. Not a fan of that. With the WWE Network, though, the change, it fundamentally shifted how we engage with WWE content for real. I like the fact that when you watch on a WWE Network, if you watch late, you can start and watch while it's still happening. But on the Peacock, if it already started and you missed the beginning, you have to wait till it's done to watch it. I don't like Peacock, and something else needs to be put on to how they stream the WWE Network. It also created a binge watching culture, or supported binge watch culture at the time, where us fans could explore archives from the early WrestleManias to iconic moments in WWE history. The WWE's network launched and revolutionized sports entertainment and pro wrestling, and not only provided us fans with content that was on demand, but transformed the company's business model. Instead of relying solely on traditional pay-per-view buys, the WWE adopted a subscription model of $9.99, which generated steady revenue streams for the WWE. This approach influenced other sports leagues and entertainment companies to consider launching their own platforms, making the WWE a pioneer in the digital sports space. The success of the WWE Network paved the way for the streaming era in pro wrestling. Impact, TNA had their own streaming. They also have independent wrestling TV, which hosts hundreds of pro wrestling independent pro wrestling companies. You also have Fight TV, now Triller TV, Triller TV, which now streams various pro wrestling and boxing and other live sports and entertainment throughout the globe. The WWE Network gave the WWE control over its content, allowing them to produce unique programming like the behind-the-scenes WWE 24 documentaries and exclusive events. Over time, the WWE even led to deals with the Peacock partnership, which I talked about, that I hate oh so much, where the WWE Network was integrated into a much larger streaming service, continuing the evolution of how we access WWE content. The next moment that I want to take a look at, and the final moment I want to take a look at that changed the WWE forever. And don't forget to subscribe, especially if it's your first time here. I say a subscription is a thank you, so thank you very much. The other moment I want to take a look at is January 29th, 2018. the first ever WWE Women's Royal Rumble. It marked a significant milestone in the WWE's commitment in women's wrestling. It featured 30 female superstars, and the match gave women equal spotlight alongside the men who were having their own Royal Rumble since '89, if I'm not mistaken. The women got to showcase their talent in a traditionally male-dominated event, and this match, it signaled a cultural shift in the representation of women in the WWE. WWE moved beyond the Divas era and fully embraced women as serious competitors. They called them superstars, which mirrored the broader societal changes toward gender equality. The impact of on women's wrestling, the Women's Royal Rumble proved that women could headline major events and deliver high-caliber performances. It's a crowning moment in the WWE's women evolution, paving the way for future historic firsts like all-women pay-per-views and also main eventing WrestleMania. That match, the Women's Royal Rumble, the first one in 2018, it received widespread praise from both fans and critics, with many seeing it as long overdue acknowledgement and the importance of women in wrestling. It underscored the WWE's efforts to create a more inclusive entertainment environment in sports entertainment while empowering female athletes and setting a new standard for women's roles in pro wrestling. Before the WWE Royal Rumble, before this women's movement here, women were pretty much just like eye candy, and we've come a long way, with the WWE no longer, featuring women as eye candy and featuring them as the serious competitors that they were. Let's take a look at some of the moments again real quickly. We're just going to revisit some of the moments that changed the WWE forever. We're going to take a look at WrestleMania 1. WrestleMania 1 laid the foundation for WWE's mega events. You had Hogan with his championship win in 1984. It sparked the Hulkamania in WWE's mainstream success. The debut of Monday Night Raw in 1993, it revolutionized weekly wrestling television. The Montreal Screwjob in 1997, which marked a major shift into the Attitude Era. Definitely Shawn Michaels' first win with the WWE Championship. It added athleticism and a new style of storytelling into pro wrestling. And then you also had the first premiere of SmackDown. It expanded the WWE's TV dominance and pretty much became a part of our much-watched TV that we have today. The purchase of WCW by the WWE, which ended the Monday Night Wars. The streak, Undertaker streak, which ended in 2014. The launch of the WWE Network, which revolutionized content delivery. And the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, which showcased the WWE's commitment to women's pro wrestling. Thanks so much for joining me here today. If you like what we did here today, please subscribe, share. Don't make this be your dirty secret. I'll be back on Friday at noon with another episode of The Tristan Law Show. And if you're lucky, we might have a live interview. You never know. That's where you got to subscribe to make sure. Thanks so much for joining us. I can't wait to see you on Friday. I'm Tristan Law, and this was The Tristan Law Show. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Flashing red lights, driving at night.